I'm Sheana, and I'm at the beginning of my totally ambivalent pregnancy. So my husband and I have been together for about 10 years. We met in college. We were friends for a long time before we started dating. So our relationship's been really great, and in the time that we've been together, we've been able to, travel, and so I feel like we really got to experience a lot of great restaurants and fun events. I think we've really enjoyed sort of what it's like to live in the big city when you're young and have a lot of fun adventures. And so the whole time we've been together, we've always wondered whether or not we wanted to someday have children. And I think we both thought we would eventually want to, but it never really clicked for us. We've had a lot of family that has had kids, and just, quite frankly, it looks really fucking hard. So, we've been really on the fence about it for a long time, and all the data says that having kids is terrible, basically. So if you ask parents whose kids have been raised if they liked having kids, they pretty much say, like, yes, it's been the greatest experience of my life. But when you actually ask parents on a day-to-day basis, how happy are you today? They actually don't look all that happy. In fact, if you look at marital satisfaction, it increases right after you get married and declines. And then as soon as you have kids, it plummets, and it doesn't regain that marital satisfaction level until when the children get older. And then again, it plummets when the kids become teenagers, and then only finally does it return to levels prior, after the children have left the home. So, I mean, there's plenty of evidence that having kids is not all it's chalked up to be. So for all these reasons, because he and I are both very data-driven, we think there's plenty of evidence that having kids isn't that great. That being said, I feel like at some point, if I don't have kids, I'm going to look back at my life and feel like it was incomplete, that I didn't live a full life, that I just went to restaurants and I just traveled and I didn't get to experience other kinds of rich, meaningful experiences. So we noticed we were putting off having kids for like different benchmarks that were coming up. So like, well, we can't have a kid until we go on that France trip that we always dreamed about. Well, we can't have a kid until we go to the French Laundry for our 10-year anniversary, because you got to drink wine if you go there. So finally we realized that, like, okay, look, we're almost 31 years old each. If we don't want to have kids, that's totally fine. But at this point, we aren't really waiting for anything in particular. It's just a matter of, do we want to have kids or not? And so we realized, like, yeah, I think I want to have kids someday, and it's probably about time to do that. So we tried to get pregnant. We got pregnant right away, which is great. And now it's sticking. So yeah. I've often joked that I've been waiting for my maternal instinct to kick in. So I've been on birth control for like a decade, and I thought, like, well, the birth control is regulating your hormones. You should get off of birth control. Got off of birth control, still no clock ticking kind of feeling. Even after becoming pregnant, I've been pretty mixed about the whole thing. It feels very much like we made a not impulsive decision, but a fast decision. And now the consequences are, of course, not literally irrevocable, but pretty much irrevocable, right? So we're on a path which ends up with a kid at our house at the end of it. So that's crazy. So one of my struggles has been the culture of motherhood, I guess, in particular, and the culture of pregnancy in the United States. As is common in America, everyone's allowed to have their opinion, but everybody here seems to yell their opinion, think it's the only right way to do anything, and thinks that anybody doing it any other way is either irresponsible, reckless, too strict, too conservative. There's really no happy medium. So what I've been really frustrated by is sort of the intolerance of different points of view around pregnancy. So, can you have a cup of coffee? If you do, does that make you an immoral monster because you don't love your baby? Are you going to deliver with an epidural. Well, if you do, you're really a lazy jerk, and the real way to do it is, you know, natural. So I've been really frustrated with both the level of judgment that I see around the pregnancy community, and I'm also a little distressed about the anxiety in the pregnancy community. So there's this sense that if you're pregnant, you need to do a lot of research to make sure you know exactly how to do everything properly. If you read anything about pregnancy, it tells you about 10 other things you didn't know you should also be afraid of. So I've been pretty frustrated with the whole system. I think it's really important to share with the world a point of view that's trying to be moderate. You know, I want to not kill my baby. I want it to be healthy, but I also don't want to radically change my life in the meantime in a way that deprives me of my simple joys. So here goes. I'm at the end of my 6th week of pregnancy. I have already had an ultrasound where I saw a beating heart, so fingers crossed that things are going well. I have had some nausea and vomiting, which I gotta be honest, don't really care for. And I think for me, one of the hardest things has been, sort of weirdly, I'm a big food person, so I have founded a cooking club, and I get a lot of food magazines, and I do all the cooking in my house. And I've had a lot of food aversions and sort of strange cravings. So being able to make dinner is suddenly challenging, or go grocery shopping is suddenly challenging in a way that I didn't appreciate. So what is affecting me on sort of a day-to-day level is how much the pregnancy is interfering with my hobby and pastime of cooking and eating out and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's it for now.